My parents forced me to give my prom dress to my spoiled sister, but days later, Grandma arrived. And her golden girl's world collapsed. I am 17 female and need some advice on something. So, my senior prom was 1 week ago, and it has caused a lot of problems in my life. I am really lost on what to do, so I have come to Reddit for help. Please be patient because this might be a little long. So, I was supposed to go to my senior prom 1 week ago, but I could not because of my parents, 40 male and 40 female. I had everything prepared and had permission from them to go, but at the last moment, plans changed, and I was once again made the scapegoat of the family. I was made to stay home while my sister went to prom. My sister Casey, 19 female, is definitely the golden child of the family. I have no idea why my family worships her, but they do. Casey and I had a lot of problems growing up because she hated having a younger sister. She used to regularly scream at me and my parents about how we ruined her life by making her an older sister. For some odd reason, my parents saw no problem with her behavior and just kept trying to make it up to her. How did they do that? By depriving me of things for 17 years of my life. I saw my sister get everything while I was left with scraps. Every time I got something nice, my sister would have a screaming tantrum, and I would be made to give it up to her. On rare occasions when my parents refused to hand over whatever I had, Casey would end up destroying my stuff and sometimes even get physically aggressive towards me. My parents' solution to this was to profusely apologize to Casey while telling me to lock myself in my room and not be out and about the house. Basically, just stay out of their paths so that Casey feels less neglected. I do not know why Casey feels neglected since she gets more love and attention from my parents anyway, but I guess it is just not enough for her. She just would not stop making my life hell. I always kept quiet because I had nobody on my side. From a very young age, my parents had drilled into my head that I needed to compromise for Casey and let things go because Casey had it hard. They refused to punish her for destroying my stuff and hitting me whenever she lost control of herself. They always had an excuse for things Casey did to me. After a few years, I just gave up complaining to my parents. It was useless anyway. I just tried to lay low and studied hard to get good grades. My only goal in life is to get the hell away from this place, especially away from my parents and sister. I was really hoping to lay low and avoid getting into trouble with them again, but then my awful sister had to come and mess things up. 1 hour before prom, Casey came into my room with my parents and told me to give my prom dress. Why? Because she wanted to wear my dress to prom. My golden child sister failed to graduate twice, and this was her senior prom. You would think that she would take all this pampering and use it to better herself. Nope, she was busy partying and wasting time on the internet because she never faced consequences for failing her classes. She literally lives like a princess. My parents bought her a prom dress that was worth $2,000. Again, this was her third prom. For God's sake, do you know what they spent on my prom dress? Nothing. Yep, that is right. They did not even buy me my dress. I knew this would happen, so I was smart enough to save up some money after working some odd jobs in the neighborhood. So, I was able to get my prom dress, even though Casey was unhappy about it. I seriously do not know what her problem was. Mom and Dad did not pay for my dress on her request because she wanted the whole budget to be spent on her dress. When I did buy my own dress, she did not say much. I thought that it would not be a problem. Well, it did become a problem because 1 hour before prom, she demanded my dress. Why? She liked it better, so she deserved it, of course. But what about her dress? Well, she returned it and spent the money on new makeup. What did my parents do in this situation? They handed over my dress to Casey while I stayed back home. Apparently, she deserved my dress and deserved to go to prom, but I did not. I do not know what their logic was. I did not argue much anyway. The moment my parents sided with Casey, I was done. Fighting them would only lead to me being grounded. I did not want that. I called my date and informed him that I would not be going. Then, I stayed in my room and cried my makeup off. I was done with my makeup, so I just had to wear my dress and walk out the door, but Casey had different plans for me. I cried, skipped dinner, and even skipped breakfast, but my parents did not care. I heard them listen to Casey go on and on about how great her prom was. I actually stopped caring about it all because I was so used to it. But 2 days later, my paternal grandma, 66 female, called me and asked why I did not send her pictures of my prom. Well, I told her the truth because I was not going to lie to my grandma. She was absolutely furious on my behalf and assured me that she would talk to my parents about it. I panicked and told her not to do it because I knew they would punish me if they knew that I told her the truth. I started to cry and beg my grandma not to confront them. Grandma was a little taken aback but listened to me. Then, she actually invited me out and took me to my favorite restaurant to eat. My parents grumbled about it, but they could not say no to her. My grandma actually surprised me and gifted me a brand new MacBook for school. She was sad to know what happened and thought that I deserved something special, so she bought me a new laptop. She knew that I had not had a new device because I always got what my sister discarded. I tried to refuse, but she simply would not hear it. I was happy to have the new laptop, but I knew Casey would throw a tantrum if she found out, and that is what she did. When I went back home, she started screaming and yelling at me. My parents told me to give up my laptop to her, but this time, I refused. I simply went into my room and shut myself in. It has been 5 days already, and Casey is raising hell. My parents have been trying to get me to give up the laptop, but I do not want to. They try to use the my house my rules logic, but I was not budging. The only reason they have not snatched it away is because I have been threatening to call grandma and tell her everything. But the harassment is not stopping. I am genuinely scared of my sister now, and I am trying my best to stay away from her. I do not want her to hit me again. I also do not want to give up the laptop. It is just that I am tired of giving up everything. I am the one who has to constantly sacrifice, but my sister is the one who claims that everyone is unfair to her. I am just so tired of this. I am constantly living in anxiety, and it is really affecting my mental health. Finals are pretty near, so I have to study, but I cannot concentrate on it either. The house is tense, and it will not change if I do not give up the laptop. Should I just give it up? Will I really be an idiot if I did not give my laptop to my sister? My parents think so, but I do not know. Please help me with some advice. Edit. Some people are confused about why I think I might be an idiot. Well, it is mostly because of what my parents are saying. It is true that grandma only took me out for dinner and gave me a gift. She did not do anything like that for my sister. My parents and my sister feel that it is unfair that I got to have a nice dinner and get a gift while my sister did not get anything. My parents are a little scared of my grandma because she is a pretty scary old lady, so they do not have the guts to call her about it. The same goes for my sister. Casey knows that grandma does not approve of her life choices or condone her behavior. In fact, grandma has pretty much shut her down every time Casey acted up in front of her. So, over time, she has understood that she needed to keep her craziness under wraps around grandma. A lot of you have questioned why grandma never stood up for me before. Well, there is a simple answer to that. She did not know the full truth of my situation. Actually, no one knows what goes on in the house. They have seen some favoritism when we were young and have confronted my parents about it, but my parents just started to hide things from them instead of improving their behavior. I am always under strict orders not to tell anyone anything. They threatened to ground me and even kick me out if I told anyone. There has been a lot of gaslighting and manipulation on my parents' end. I was too young and dumb to realize that in the past, but now I think I'm starting to get it. I still do not know what to do though. My mind is too messed up to think straight. Besides, I am too busy being cautious not to cross paths with my sister or have her beat me up. She has come to my room and banged on my door multiple times. Thank God I always have my door locked from the inside. Okay, I get it, guys. I need to speak to someone and tell them what is going on. I have made some decisions which I will tell you a little later. First, I need to rant a little. Your messages have really overwhelmed me. I do not know how to thank you guys for caring for me so much. There was a troll who told me that I should unalive myself because no one likes me. Well, that is not going to happen. A lot of you do not understand why I never spoke out about my parents and Casey till now. It shows that you have good parents and not insanely manipulative ones like mine. From the very beginning, my parents put a lot of fear into my head about what would happen if I ran my mouth to the extended family. They used to tell me horrible stories of foster care when I complained about their favoritism. I was hardly 10 or 11 back then. I was dead scared of foster care and was more or less convinced that I would end up there if I told anyone what was happening. When I grew up, they would ground me and take away my electronics after every argument. Sometimes, when their favoritism showed in public and people would call them out, I would have been punished. I still do not know why, because I was not responsible for their actions anyway. I think you guys can tell that I am the personification of the word scapegoat. Believe me, I wish things were not like this. I wish I was exaggerating and my family is not as bad as I am making them out to be, but it is what it is. And some of you have really understood my situation and felt my sadness. I tried to pretend that my parents' favoritism does not affect me, but that is not true at all. I crave for their love and affection just as much as any other child. It is hard seeing them favor my sister so much. Yes, it is true that she did not want a sister, but I did not ask to be born either. I do not understand why her problems are taken seriously but mine are not. I have been a good kid. I do not claim to be perfect. I have been moody too, but it is mostly because I felt extremely unloved. I have been a star student and have been trying to make my parents proud, but they never praise me or celebrate my achievements because my sister would feel bad. It is a constant cycle of me expecting them to show me affection and them rejecting me for my sister and then me getting sad all over again. I was starving for their attention and love. None of my friends have parents like mine. Their siblings actually love them even if they occasionally fight. For years, I have been so envious of them. I hate that I mean so little to my family. I have tried to be a good kid and make my parents proud, but I can see that I have only become a big doormat for everyone. Thank you for showing me what is happening in my life. You are right. I should talk to someone, and I will. I am going to call Grandma and tell her everything in detail. She has been pestering me for more information anyway. I think she can already guess something is horribly wrong. I do not think I can put her off for long, so I have decided to tell her and everyone else what my parents and sister are doing. I am done protecting them. I am done begging them for love and attention. I need to look out for myself now since my parents clearly do not care for me even a little bit. I have already texted my grandma, and I am waiting for her to reply. I cannot call her right now since my parents may be able to hear me speak to her. I want to expose them, but I also want to do it as discreetly as possible. Thank you so much for showing me that I was being abused. It really gave me the push to come clean to the rest of the family. A few things went well for me while a few things definitely did not. I am at my grandmother's place right now, and we will be living here from now on. I think you have already guessed that something big has happened. I will try to give out as much information as possible. I am sorry if I missed something out. I never thought I would have to keep updating and things would get so bad in my life, but here we are. She did not tell my parents that she was coming by. She just said that she needed some help with shopping and wanted me to come along. My parents were hesitant to let me go again, but they cannot say no to my grandma. I saw Casey ask Grandma if she could come along, but Grandma said that she wanted me instead. I could already tell that things would be bad at home once I came back, but at that point, I had already made up my mind not to be silent anymore. When Grandma and I finally sat down to talk, she immediately told me not to hide anything. She had been extremely worried about me and had begun noticing how I was distant from my parents and sister. Grandma and several other family members had been noticing things but had not spoken up because they did not have proof. So, Grandma almost begged me to talk to her if something was wrong. I will not lie and tell you that I stayed strong while exposing my family. It was like a dam broke, and I started to cry my feelings out. I told her everything, and please do not ask for details because I cannot write everything down. Things were bad at home. I had been excusing and hiding a lot of my sister's crazy behavior. My parents never did anything and scared me to silence. I was a vulnerable dumb girl who got scared and stayed quiet, but that day, I told Grandma everything. She heard me out and cried with me. Thank God that cafe we went to was almost empty. The staff there were extremely good and even gave us free desserts. No one was judging me or casting us looks, so I was able to tell Grandma everything. I still remember feeling light and relieved after saying it all. It was truly liberating. Grandma comforted me and assured me that I would never have to face that abuse again. It was nice knowing that she was on my side. She started to call up my aunts and uncles and told them what was going on. Meanwhile, my parents and even my sister were blowing up my phone with threatening texts about how I should convince Grandma to take my sister out and give her a gift. I cannot believe their audacity. Anyway, after Grandma spoke to everyone, she told me that she would take me home so that I could collect my stuff. She told me that I would stay with her from then on. As we were going back home, I was already dreading the confrontation with my parents. Sure, my grandma was with me, but I was terrified of what was to happen. After all, I did what my parents told me never to do. I told her the truth. By the time we reached the house, my parents had been getting angry calls from all my aunts and uncles who had been briefed about the situation. So, when Grandma and I walked into the house, they already knew that I had exposed them. They had started to scream at me but froze when Grandma came in. Grandma told me to go pack up while she talked to my parents. I heard her start to yell at them while I rushed to pack my stuff. Here is when things get bad. I had forgotten the fact that Casey was still in the house. Imagine my surprise when she burst into my room after me and started to scream her head off. I knew that talking or arguing with her would be stupid, so I just kept packing while she yelled about how I ruined everything by opening my mouth. When she saw that I was not paying attention to her, she literally grabbed me by my hair and punched me in the face. I was pretty stunned and could not remember what Casey was saying, but she kept screaming at me and cussing me out for talking to Grandma. By the time Casey was about to hit me again, Grandma and my parents had come into the room. Grandma took me away while my parents were trying to restrain Casey. Grandma later took me to the hospital and got my injuries documented as well. I slept like a baby at my grandma's place, but that was probably due to the pain meds they gave me. My sister had basically broken my nose. She is pretty taller and heavier than me, so she did some serious damage. Do not worry. Everything has been documented. I am still unsure what to do about it, but something needs to be done. My grandma has been speaking to my aunts and uncles about this before making a decision. My sister has gone completely quiet, but my parents are blowing up my phone with texts. Basically, they are blaming me for breaking up the family and getting my sister in trouble with Grandma. They have been getting a lot of flack from the extended family, so they are accusing me of damaging their reputation. They have not asked me to come back home though. I guess they do not really care if I do not stay with them. They are more concerned about their and my sister's reputation at this point. I have been contemplating blocking them, but I do not know for sure. Grandma has not said anything yet, so I guess I am waiting for her to tell me what to do. I cannot believe that internet strangers care so much about me when my own parents do not. It says a lot that strangers are more concerned about me than my own parents. It is sad in a way that you cannot even imagine, but I am slowly getting over it. I was going through some stuff and had a hard time with my recovery, school, police, and everything else. Some of you have been asking me why I did not go to the police and report my family. Well, I was recovering from a traumatic event and was in a lot of pain. Also, I am a minor, so I am not that well versed with law stuff. It was my grandmother who was taking care of things along with my uncle. Do not worry. They did report the incident to the police. Casey had been arrested, but my parents bailed her out as usual. It is likely that Casey will go to jail because this is not the first or even the second time she has assaulted anyone. My parents are also being charged with child neglect and endangerment. I do not know the details now since my uncle and grandma are handling everything. I am just concentrating on my finals and getting my mental health back on track. I do have some good news on my injuries. They are healing fine, but I had to suffer through the pain for 5 days straight. That was not fun at all. Anyway, I have been placed with my grandma for the time being. I will turn 18 in 2 months anyway, so there is not much to worry about. It is not like my parents or anyone would have legal rights over me for long anyway. Speaking of my parents, well, things are not good on that front either. After everything sunk in, I started to hold a lot of resentment towards them. Grandma put me in therapy because she could see that I was struggling. I have attended a few sessions, and I think this will be helpful for me in the long run. My parents did reach out to me again. At first, they were saying some horrible stuff because I allowed Grandma to report them and Casey. But after a while, they changed their tune and started to apologize. No, they did not just have a change of heart overnight or finally realize that they should have loved me. They just panicked because they were facing a lot of backlash from family and friends. By now, pretty much everyone we know is aware of what has been happening, and they are not happy about it. My parents are essentially being shunned by everyone they know. Grandma has pretty much given up on them since they could not believe how much my parents and sister abused me. Grandma has firmly told my parents that they and Casey would never get a cent of her inheritance. That must have sent them into a panic since my grandma is pretty loaded. It is pathetic that they apologized only when their finances were in jeopardy. It is horrible really, but I am slowly starting not to care. The only reason I have not blocked them is because my uncle said that their threatening texts can be used in court. I do not let their words affect me anyway, and I do not plan to forgive them anytime soon. I am seriously glad that I would be able to cut them out of my life completely very soon. I have my grandma and my extended family, and they are enough. Hell, even my prom date boyfriend is a major support for me. I have met his family, and they are just so much different from mine. It sometimes hurts to know that everyone around me has such good parents. I am so grateful to have so many people care about me. I am now in college and doing much better than before. Time heals a lot of things, you know. I am so happy to tell you that I was able to get better both mentally and physically. I do not have any bruises, and my mental scars are healing as well. I did pretty well in finals and got into my dream college. I will not name the place, but it is pretty good, guys. My dreams are really coming true. I am a little sad because I had to move away from my grandma to stay at the dorms here, but I do visit her when I can. It is just a 4-hour drive. Okay, now on to my parents and sister. As I had predicted, Casey ended up going to jail, but it was not for a very long time. In fact, I am pretty sure she is going to get out next month. I have stopped keeping track of her. I saw her in court, and she did not look very good. The court ordered a mental health evaluation on her, but I do not know what they found from it. I am least interested to know what her diagnosis is. I am pretty convinced that she has a host of problems, but I am not interested in hearing it. As far as I am concerned, she is dead to me now. My parents, well, they got charged with child neglect and endangerment. Again, I do not know a lot about the details. No one went to jail, but they did end up paying a hefty fine. I do not mind that they did not go to jail. Their reputation in the community is already damaged, and their golden child is being shunned by everyone. Not even their own family wants to be in their lives anymore, so I think they are suffering enough. I have a protective order against my sister, so she cannot contact me even after she gets out of jail. However, for some odd reason, I could not get a protective order against my parents. Apparently, they did not pose a threat to me, so I did not need one against them. I do not know why the courts did not give me one. Since I do not have a protective order against my parents, they try to contact me sometimes. I immediately block those numbers because I am least interested in hearing how they regret their actions. They had over 17 years to correct their nasty behavior, but they only felt sorry when they got cut off from everyone. I do not see this as an apology or regret. I see this as an insult, and I do not want like this in my life. I cannot say for sure what I will feel like in the future, but for now, I am done with them for good. Anyway, I would again like to thank you all for your time. I really needed to talk to someone, and you guys helped me a lot.